Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Hi, I'm Betty Vail. I live in Big Fork. I've lived here since December 1st of 1944. I came here as a junior, dancing the jitterbug. I got started being an artist. I was always interested in art and never really had the time to do it. And when our daughters grew up and got married, I thought this would be a good time. So I attended a workshop at the high school and never had a brush in my hand, did not know how to paint anything. And I thought, well, I'll give it a try. So I did, and I bought books and came home and practiced. And the painting you see over here on the floor is my very first painting. I wanted to paint, but I didn't think I could. I took some classes in Duluth, and then from then on, I just practiced and practiced. And then I met a gentleman from Longville, Eli Heaton was his name, an elderly gentleman. And he asked me if I'd come over to his place and paint with him. Well, his style was totally different, but it was fun, and it was just fun being with him and talking to him about his painting and how he started. He used to paint at county fairs. He would paint like on mirrors and cream cans and plates and various things. So that was fun. I like oil the best. I have worked some with acrylic. I tried watercolor, and that is not for me, at least not now. I like oil the best. I did that painting several years ago. I took some classes from Maureen O'Brien over at Solway, and this is one of the paintings we did. I enjoyed working with Maureen. I think she's an excellent artist, and she taught me a lot. This particular painting was my husband's favorite. When I came home with it, he said, "Of all the paintings that you've done, this is by far my favorite." And he said, "Don't ever sell it." And when he was in the nursing home, I had it hung at the foot of his bed so he could see it every morning when he woke up and before he went to sleep at night. When my husband went to the nursing home, he was so devastated, and he was such an animal lover that I thought, what can I get him to perk him up and make him feel happier? And I went up to the vet and asked him about getting a dog for me, and he said, "Well, I don't know where I can get one." And the receptionist said, "Well, I do." She said, "I know where I can get you a nice little dog, and if I can get it, I'll bring it on Monday." So she came on Monday with the dog. I laid the dog on my husband's bed, and when he woke up, he said, "Hello, Joe, where did you come from?" So consequently, his name is Joe. It did so much for him and everyone else in the nursing home, all the guys.
Yeah.
So he was well fed. They all had treats in their rooms. "Come in my room, I'll give you a treat," you know? It was good. The pencil drawing is of my husband. My oldest granddaughter, Dorinda Munson, drew it when I think she was in the 9th grade in high school, and sent it to him. My love for the arts has been passed on to my oldest daughter, Janet, who lives in Montana. She does watercolors. And her oldest daughter does beautiful drawings. She did a beautiful drawing of her grandfather. My grandson does pastels. He did a beautiful tiger. He is also a singer in New York City. He sings in some of the operas and some of the Broadway shows. And I guess it makes me happy to know that they love the art as much as I do. Painting makes me feel wonderful. I just get lost in it. I get lost in all the arts. If I start doing cards, well, there's no end to how many I'm going to crank out in a day or what I'm going to do. But I just love art. It takes my mind off of other things, and I feel like I'm in another world. I guess I am. Like I said, On the Floor is my first one, and I was shocked. I really was. And I thought, oh, this is pretty good. And then when I compare it to what I do now, I think, oh, this isn't so good. Since then, I've done any number of arts, everything from sewing to embroidery to painting to card making to calligraphy, music. I love music. I learned after my daughters were growing up, I learned to play several instruments, and I enjoyed it. I belong to the Artist League here in Big Fork, and I enjoy that. Well, some days we paint and some days we just talk smart. The painting of the birds is oil painting on parchment paper. It's a different way to do it, but it's fun and they're pretty. When I design my cards, I use a Cricut machine, and a Cricut machine cuts out your images for you. I emboss all my cards with a Cuttle machine. A Cuttlebug machine is an embossing machine. You buy folders so your embossing can be different things, or like pebble look or flowers. I also would like to do some watercolor painting on the cards. After my husband passed away, I wanted to take a class in something to kind of help me get over being lonesome. So I took a clay class at school. The first thing I made was the little bird in the nest. Then I got real brave and I made the clown playing the saxophone, and I call her Saxy Sally. And then I got really brave and I made the gargoyle, and I patterned the gargoyle after my little dog's face. And I made the gargoyle into a fountain, and it's all hand done. There's no molds or anything. It's all hand built. A friend and I attended the woodworkers show over in Black Duck, and there was a lady over there that had a display of Brazilian embroidery, and we were both just, oh, isn't this beautiful? And so we said, well, do you give lessons? And she said, sure. And I said, okay, sign us up. So she signed us up, and we went over for a few times and had lessons. The thread you use is rayon. That's the only thread you can use. The embroidery itself is three-dimensional, and it's fun to do. It's time-consuming, but it's very rewarding. There's a lot of difference between embroidering and sewing. I taught sewing for several years for the community ed program in all the cities in Itasca County, I do believe. Dr. Gornowich from Grand Rapids called me and asked me if I'd teach for the community ed program. And I said, well, I don't know, I'm not a teacher. Well, he said, it sounds like you're doing some good things up there. So I said, okay, I'll come down. And I traveled all over the county to do this, everywhere from Nashwauk to Calumet, Marble, Deer River, Big Falls, Big Fork. I had many students and I loved it. Oh, I try everything. I love calligraphy. I just love everything, all the arts. When we were growing up, we were poor. We couldn't do anything. And so I thought, I'm not going out of this world before I learn these things. I've been involved with it all and I love it.
If you enjoyed this segment of Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground, consider making a contribution at lptv.org. If you have segment ideas pertaining to North Central Minnesota, contact us at legacy@lptv.org. Common Ground is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund by the vote of the people on November 4th, 2008.